Do you want to know what I believe is the number one human emotion that is lacking most in our society? The number one thing that as human beings, that if we had more of this thing, society would improve exponentially, instantaneously. And that thing is empathy. Empathy is the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes. And one of the things that prevents us from being empathetic is anxiety. We're so worried and concerned about our own circumstances. We're so worried and concerned about our own situations that we haven't yet developed fully the ability to care about other people. I think we saw that here in America in the recent election, that people are so concerned about their own ability to afford groceries, gas, their bills, that we were not able to go beyond that thought and think about things communally and think about how people in society are being impacted by what goes on around us. And I'm not even saying that in a judgmental way, like Americans are, I'm just saying, it's just how we are. When we get so wrapped up in how am I going to pay my bills, it becomes very difficult for me to concern myself with how your living circumstances are going to be. But empathy is so important. And I'm going to talk about why today. So welcome back to the aha moments, where every day I share the lessons I've learned in my work as a psychotherapist and in my life to inspire you to live your very best life. Of course, I'm your host, Elliott Connie. So empathy really, really matters. I need to be able to look across the street and see my neighbor and understand that their circumstances may not be as idyllic as mine, and their circumstances matter. I didn't realize to the degree that we were lacking empathy until COVID. When COVID happened, I remember I was sitting in this office and I was doing some work, getting ready for a lecture I was about to go give at a conference I was really excited to speak to in March of 2020. And I got an email 2 weeks before that conference saying that this thing, COVID, has happened. We're still doing our conference. Only 10% of the conference registrants have canceled, so we're going forward. It's going to be great. And I was like, oh, good, phew. And then the very next day, maybe it was even that day, March 11th, 2020, I'll never forget it. A basketball player by the name of Rudy Gobert came down with COVID. And at that time, we thought he was going to die, turn into a zombie. I mean, it was a crazy experience. And then everything started canceling at that point. And I can remember hearing from the government and hearing from leaders in the health industry that we need to stay at home for about 2 weeks and we'll be able to stop the spread. So I did that. I stayed home for 2 weeks. I didn't leave my house to do anything for 2 whole weeks. And then I ran out of food. So I needed to go. And you guys, if you think back, remember they were here are the essential tasks that you should be able to leave your house to go do. And I remember after 2 weeks of staying at home, and I thought we were all staying at home. I really genuinely believed that. After 2 weeks, I ran out of food and I go to the grocery store. And as I'm driving around the area of Texas where I live, I noticed that it looked like a normal day. It was clear to me that not everybody was staying at home. And what's further is when I looked online about this, because I was so befuddled, I thought we were all staying at home because we all wanted to stop the spread. So when I looked online and I saw that people were making fun of the people who were staying at home, people were judging, criticizing, attacking on social media, I just thought, but what if those people have a health condition? For example, I have an aunt, and my aunt has asthma, and she's older. She literally is in multiple categories of what they were calling risk factors of COVID back then. And if I went out into the world, and I see my aunt often, and during COVID, my home ended up needing to be remodeled because it got hit with an ice storm and there was massive water damage. I moved in with that aunt, and I had to be very vigilant about what I exposed myself to so I could be careful about what I was not going to expose my aunt to. So what about those people that are survivors of cancer? As I had a friend whose wife was a survivor of cancer. What about my aunt who's struggling with asthma? She could literally die if I go out into the world. And people were making fun of the people who were obeying the stay-at-home order. People were making fun of the people that were doing social distancing. And that was when I realized, man, like, we don't have enough empathy for other people's circumstances. I'm going to tell you what you need to do. Replace judgment with empathy. When you feel like it is time to judge, criticize, or put down other people, just remember that they have the right to live the life that they want to live, and you don't know why they're doing those things. That's the activity I want you guys to engage in. Practice replacing judgment with empathy. By the way, we all judge, but it's never useful. So replace judgment with empathy. Thanks for being here. If you wouldn't mind doing me a super huge favor, I would love it if you would share this podcast with at least one person in your life that you think could benefit from hearing this message today. And also, don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcasts or anywhere else you listen to your podcast. And also follow me on all of the social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky. You can search for my name, Elliott Connie, or at Elliott Speaks. That's my handle across all platforms. Can't wait to see you tomorrow.